Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. Can this pump up continue, or are we going to get a correction from here? I'm looking at some Elliot wave structures that I'm seeing on Bitcoin, which indicate that we might be looking at a correction. I'm going to show you the charts, show you why I think this, take you through a little bit of Elliot wave theory to back it up, and we'll see what we're expecting from Bitcoin with its next moves, and then what will follow that correction. So we're going to dive into that. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about liquidity, which seems to be on the rise. And also we're going to talk about alt season and how this move might affect the altcoins. Can we get a big pump in altcoins? We've seen some great moves recently, but can we get continuation? So without further ado, let's dive on into it. So guys, as you can see here, we're looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, and I just wanted to show you what I think we might be seeing next before perhaps we can continue upwards. We've had a nice move here from the lows around $75,000, and we moved all the way up to 104,000, 105 nearly. Quite clear Elliott wave structure emerging here. It looks to me like probably we are at the top of the current move. If I draw the Elliott wave impulses here, we've got wave 1, pull back for wave 2, wave 3, pull back for wave 4, wave 5. And whether wave 5 is quite completed, maybe it can go a little bit higher. Maybe we've started the pullback already. But Elliott wave theory actually tells us that we'd be looking for a correction on Bitcoin here. Just to show you a quick example. So here you can see how an Elliott wave structure usually forms. An Elliott wave theory says we get wave 1, pull back for wave 2, wave 3, pull back for wave 4, wave 5 is your top, and then we're looking for an A, B, C correction. And then potentially we can start our next set of Elliott waves for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from wave C to take us higher. So hopefully that's what we're looking at coming for us next in Bitcoin. So back to our chart here, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave impulses. Let's bring on our Fibonacci's, because you can see we haven't taken out the previous highs, but we've got quite close to them. So where do we stand in terms of the Fibonacci retracements? Well, we've actually got through the golden pocket. We got a bit of a reaction there at the end of wave 3 of the Elliott wave impulse, and then the pullback for wave 4 nearly to the 0.5 retracement level. And then we've actually broken up through the golden pocket, through the 786, and we've been consolidating above the 786. Now this is pretty bullish. Usually you would maybe peak through the 786, but you'd expect to consolidate below it if you were going to reject and make a move down. And the fact we've been consolidating above this blue line, the 786 Fibonacci retracement, actually is an indicator that this is looking strong, and we can potentially now be looking for a continuation upwards. But of course, the Elliott wave theory says we're now looking for an ABC correction. Now, quite often you'll see these moves come up to halfway between the 786 and the 100% retracement levels. So I actually mark this on. It's not a fundamental Fibonacci level, but it is exactly halfway between the 786 and 100%, and that's the 0.0893 retracement level, 0.0893. And I highly recommend putting these on your Fibonacci retracements. So there's a potential here that maybe this Elliott wave 5 has got one little more move up towards that level, potentially even a little higher. I'm looking for the ABC correction to come in below this previous high. So now we will be looking for a, let's see, Elliott wave correction ABC. So from here you'd be looking at maybe a pullback down into these retracement levels, then another leg up as a retracement, and then potentially move down. And quite often these will come down and take out these previous lows from the bottom of wave 4. So just flicking back to our Elliott wave theory diagram here, your 5 waves up, your ABC. The A wave doesn't come down below the bottom of the wave 4 correction. We bounce back up. Quite often this will be a Fibonacci 618 retracement of this move, so I'll show you that on the chart in a second. And then the B leg retraces up, and then the C wave brings us back down, taking out these lows from the bottom of wave 4. So as you can see, as I drew this on, A correction brings us down, probably finding support around the top of wave 3, but not 100% sure that will correlate, but time will tell. Wave B of the correction will often be a retracement of this move, so we can take a Fibonacci from the high when we've set it, come down to this low when we've set it, and wave B will usually come up into these golden pocket sort of fib retracement levels of that move, and then we'll see wave C bring us down, taking out the low from the bottom of wave 4, and that will be the correction complete. And then we'll be looking hopefully to make a similar move again. I'll just copy this one for ease of drawing it out from the bottom of that correction. We'd potentially be looking at a move something like this. Now these ABC corrections, they can be slightly different. We don't have to see it like the one that I demonstrated there. We could see something of a smaller correction and maybe hold these highs as support. We could potentially see more of a bull flag correction and then continuation. And of course this could be the top and we could see another 5-wave Elliot move down. And that's not impossible. I just don't think that's very likely. The moves that we've made are showing that the more likely scenario is an ABC correction and continuation. So that's what we're looking for. But of course, none of these things are 100% guaranteed. They're just giving us probabilities, and we're looking for the highest probability outcome. So the Elliott wave theory shows that an ABC correction and then continuation is what's most likely. So that's what we're looking for. And the fact that we're above the 786 and consolidating above that is good confirmation towards that bullish bias. So time-wise, don't take too much notice of these drawings. I mean, the way I've drawn it here takes us out to the end of July almost this year, but these can really play out in a lot of different ways. I mean, we could see a long drawn-out correction where maybe this happens over here. You know, we get something more like this. Time-wise, it's very hard to predict these things. And then potentially, you know, is this going to take the same amount of time, or does this need moving over as well? I think it's probably unlikely that stage will take longer, because we're entering the parabolic sort of end part of the cycle. So the moves higher get quicker and faster as we approach the end, until suddenly we hit the top and then we just absolutely mega dump from there. So we really want to be cautious if we do see this play out. I'm not sure how long this ABC will take. Maybe it happens much quicker than that. Maybe we see some very quick correction, maybe a bit of scare stuff in the news that fuds it and brings the narrative for the correction down, and then hopefully, you know, some trade deals or some sort of news catalyst to justify this last impulse up and the real push up. And then we'll be looking, when we hit these sort of regions, for just the media pumping us full of FOMO for crypto, and, you know, trying to encourage everyone to come in and buy the top so they can sell their bags to you and just dump it in your face. So yeah, we really need to start being cautious. But I think this is potentially what we could be looking at next. So we will see. Time will tell. One last thing to maybe say, I mean, there's no guarantee this happens. It's just theory. And although it plays out over and over again, it doesn't always play out, and only time will tell. But I think this is the most likely scenario that we're looking at for Bitcoin from where we currently stand. Now, zooming in at smaller time frames, if I take all these drawings off and let's bring some momentum in here, I think there's a potential. Actually, let's keep the Fibonacci retracement on for the bigger range. Just quickly remove this one, remove these Elliott waves. So what we're looking for here is really to start setting some bearish divergences into these levels, and we are starting to see that. We're getting the price movement coming up here, and we are getting the momentum down here getting lower. So we're getting bearish divergences here. Do we get one more push up into this retracement level, the 893, like I mentioned, potentially setting a bigger, clearer bearish divergence there? We want to be checking multiple time frames to be able to see that we're getting these divergences on maybe the 15-minute, the hourly, potentially to snipe entries if you're looking for shorts. Maybe the 5-minute, maybe we can get one more push up, another bearish divergence on the 5-minute. Not sure, but it looks like we could be topping out here for the moment for Bitcoin, looking for that ABC correction, and then hopefully things can continue upwards. So keep your eye on the 4-hour chart, keep your eye on the daily. See how this last Elliott wave impulse plays out. Are we correcting from here? Do we get one more little push to finalize the wave and then come down? We shouldn't really see this wave exceeding the length of wave 3, but I don't think we're going to see that. So yeah, it's looking good for this to play out. We'll see. Now, the question probably on everyone's minds is, has altcoin season started? Now, we're looking at Bitcoin here, but at this stage of the cycle where the liquidity is rotating from the big caps into smaller caps, are we likely to see altcoins do an ABC correction from here? Or are they going to hold the price or maybe keep pumping whilst Bitcoin does this correction? Now, usually at most stages of the cycle, you will see altcoins dump more than Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin dominance has been rising for quite some time, we've seen big dumps in altcoins as Bitcoin's held fairly strong. But if we're right about the global liquidity now coming in, if we're right about altcoins picking up in strength and the parabolic stage of the cycle really kicking in soon, which I think we're starting to see signs of with coins like SWI. If I just take the drawings off here, it's just been super strong, absolutely tearing higher. Lovely moves so far. You could argue we've seen a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliot wave move here. Are we looking for an ABC in SWI? Potentially. Can it keep going whilst Bitcoin ABCs? Yes, potentially. I mean, at these late stages of the cycle, when you're seeing volume picking up on altcoins like this and them just growing in volume and strength, there's a good chance as a Bitcoin correction happens that liquidity might flow out of Bitcoin into the strong altcoins and they may continue to pump. When we see the A correction down and then we get the B correction up in Bitcoin before the C leg down, in that B wave up of the Elliot wave correction, we could really see some altcoins pumping with that move. So that's something to keep an eye on. And if we do see that happen, that's a really good sign that we are in the starting stages of alt season. Now, I don't think alt season will last very long. Historically, it's only maybe a month or two. And you can argue that it's already started from the bottom here and been going on for potentially a month already. So it could be quick and fast, and we could really start tearing to some new highs. But we need to keep an eye on altcoins during the ABC correction that Bitcoin's likely to do. And if we see strength in the altcoins during that correction, then we really are looking good to get this last banana zone parabolic pump in altcoins. Now, I did mention the time frame could be much longer if we are in some sort of super cycle and we're going to see Bitcoin just keep tearing for the next year, then we're likely to see some really good positive movement in altcoins because there's so much room for a lot of these altcoins to move up still, and the gains are going to be much bigger than we see in Bitcoin from here, I believe. But for now, as I say, I'm focused on a much shorter time frame, maybe the next month or two, and it could potentially all be over then. So really, I'm talking about the final parabolic stages of the cycle. So let's keep an eye on Bitcoin over the next week or so. Don't know the time frame for how long the ABC correction is going to take, if we even get it, but it is the most likely thing that I'm looking for us to do next. And let's keep an eye on the altcoins during that correction and see how they behave. If they're looking strong, then I think altcoin season is here, and let's go, baby. We'll see. Now, obviously, still some things to look out for in the news. There's still some uncertainty with tariffs, so we'll be hoping to see some positive news coming out. Show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. Well, the charts are looking good. Maybe we get some slight downside in news whilst we get this ABC correction, because they always need a narrative to go along with these moves. And even though the charts are telling us that's what's likely to happen, they need to make up some sort of media story to go along with that, to trick everyone into thinking it's the news that drives the price. Now, I'm not saying news has no influence on the price. Of course it does. People get scared, people get excited, and that's what the news is designed to do. It makes people react and buy and sell, and unfortunately it tends to be targeted to make you buy at exactly the wrong time and sell at exactly the wrong time. But we'll see if we get these narratives to go along with it. Then hopefully we'll get some rosy positive news that really, all the tariffs are sorted and maybe money printers are turning on, and and hopefully we can see the markets really soar and get a nice push up. I'm not entirely sure what lays ahead. Global liquidity is coming up. It's clear that liquidity is starting to flow into risk assets. We've had gold pulling back, which is traditionally a safe haven, and so the money rolling out of safe haven assets like gold and coming into more risk on assets is a good indicator that altcoins are going to start doing well. We've seen Bitcoin dominance pulling back, and I think that will continue to drop. So I think we could be approaching the very ends of the cycle. Global liquidity would indicate that potentially we could have a lot longer to go in this cycle. I mean, if it becomes some sort of super cycle, we could be looking another year of positive price action. But at the moment, I'm looking at the shorter time frames, and the charts are actually indicating that potentially this could be the end of the cycle when this happens, if this happens. Now, you can see this takes us up to almost 125,000 for Bitcoin, and that's at the upper range of my targets. I don't really expect us to go much higher than that. I know a lot of people are calling for much higher numbers, 250,000, 500,000, you know, even 200k I think is highly unlikely. I really do think when we reach these sort of levels, if we can get there, that there's a very good chance that's it for Bitcoin. Again, nothing's guaranteed. When we come up here, we'll want to be looking for bearish divergences on the daily time frame. So if this wave cools off as we make the ABC correction, and then we get another wave into these impulses, we're looking for the momentum waves to set lower highs. You can also look at this on your RSI, maybe check other indicators like the MACD and things like that, see if we're curving, getting any negative crosses to show weakness, looking for volume down here for indicators of a blow off top, and then probably quick moves down. And as far as I'm looking ahead in the future, I think that could potentially be the end of these bullish moves for now. And then it'd be interesting to see what happens next. Can we sort of make some corrections and consolidate, and then maybe keep pushing on for the rest of the year? Or is that the end? Is it all going to crumble from there? It could potentially be the case. So I think a lot of people are maybe expecting this cycle to go on longer than it will, a lot longer. But I'm not saying they're wrong. There is a lot of stuff to back up the fact that the cycle could be longer, like the global liquidity cycle, and you know, the fact that the property cycle is an 18.5-year cycle that's probably due to end in 2026. So it would make sense that the timing of everything collapsing would all come when the property market goes. We've got a 100-year cycle on the stock markets. We're 100 years on from 1929 Wall Street crash. So are we looking at a massive devastating depression coming soon in the markets? You know, and these cycle timelines are averages. So it doesn't have to be exactly 100 years. It doesn't have to be exactly 18.5 years for the property cycle. You can give or take 10-15% from those values. So, you know, maybe it comes sooner than we're expecting, but maybe this cycle can become a super cycle and keep going for the rest of the year until, you know, all these other things come crumbling down. So we'll want to be keeping an eye on the stock market. We'll want to be keeping an eye on the property cycle. There's lots of things, you know, the DXY, the US dollar strength, Bitcoin dominance, lots of things to be checking at the moment. But from what I've been checking and from what I'm seeing, it looks like we're likely to get this correction and possibly another push higher in Bitcoin. And usually when we get this sort of blow off top ending to the cycle, we see altcoins go crazy. So hopefully we're getting alt season, and we'll see some really big moves coming up very soon. So there we go. Anyway, just wanted to give you an update on that. I expect a lot of people getting quite excited with this move up, and I just wanted to warn you that we could be potentially topping out for now on Bitcoin, looking for that correction down, take out these lows at the bottom of wave 4 of the Elliot wave move, and then we should be good to go and continue upwards. And with that continuation upwards in Bitcoin, we should really see some massive moves in the altcoins. So yeah, so far so good, looking great. So I'll leave you with it there. Thanks for tuning in.